Content of these meetings being sent to third party. So what did we discuss last time? We looked at the stock market, and we said this is where people buy and sell shares. We said a share is a unit of owner's capital, while a stock is a bundle, the fully paid up shares. We did see why the stock market exists in every country. We did explain why that is necessary because of what the stock market plays in the growth of a country's economy. Among other things, the stock market provides a market where people can buy or sell shares, express risks, and that index serves as a to measure the country's economic. It protects the country against fraud as they are required to publish all their accounts. And it provides statistical information that is used to evaluate the performance. We look at the companies, and we say these are companies whose shares are dealt with in the stock market. And they are public limited companies, although private companies may also be quoted unless they go public. We saw the advantages of quotation. These are similar as to why the circumstances for quotation. We also saw the disadvantages, and we explained that these disadvantages are the ones that give circumstances under which a company may be deregistered from the stock market. And we looked at investment, which we said that this is commitment of funds for returns in the future. And what we consider in buying and selling of shares, recall what we did discuss about XYZ, who received 3 million shillings as lump sum to venture into a business upon his retirement or retrenchment. And he came to you for you to help so that you could advise him as to whether he should join a matatu business, buy shares, or build rental houses. You did discuss that. But from what you are discussing, ladies and gentlemen, key things that you should look at. Look at one, the nature of the product, and consider that product as to which one will give returns faster. Consider the performance of that product, diversification, the growth rate, and security. To this end, therefore, we did say that the following factors are therefore key. What is the return on the investment? If you compare matatu business, rental houses, and buying shares, which one will give you higher returns in terms of interest, dividends, profits, and the like? Because the higher the returns, the better the investment. So of the three, you are to choose which one and explain along those lines. You look at security of the investment, that you invest where there are fewer or minimal risks. Between buying shares, potato business, and building rental houses, which of them has fewer or minimal risks? But remember at the back of your minds, the higher the risks, the better the investment. And that's where you get higher returns. The degree of liquidity. How easy is it for you to convert that investment into cash? That convenience is what we are looking for. So you need to look at that investment, which is conveniently easy for you to convert it into cash. So you ask yourself, between buying shares, matatu business, and rentals, which one is easy for you to convert into cash. Then number 4 was the payback period. How long does it take for that investment to pay you back the initial capital invested? Ordinarily, we invest where it takes a short period of time to pay back what you initially invested. So you are to look at the Matatu business, you are to look at rental houses, you are to look at the shares. Which of them do you think provides a shorter payback period? Then we also look at the tax policy. All those 3 are subjected to tax. So with the tax policy, you invest where profits are tax-free or have a lower tax rate. So between the shares, rental houses, and Matatu business, where you think there are tax-free or there is a lower tax rate. Then finally is the growth rate. Invest in activities whose funds value will always appreciate over time. So if you compare shares, if you compare rental houses, which of the 3 do you think will appreciate in its funds value? So once you do that, then you will be able now to advise this Mr. XYZ on the best way. Some of you, during your discussions that we saw in class, you are sharing, you are basing on one point, but we need to look at this on the basis of these 6 reasons. So you evaluate each one of them: investment return, security of investment, degree of liquidity, payback period, tax policy, and growth rate. So you make an argument on the 3, so that as you do that argument, you are giving what it favors, what your choice is, at the expense of the other 3. That is how you are supposed to respond to this question. This is basically an application question, and it gives you an opportunity for you to think, for you to argue, for you to discuss. You don't just give points, but you are supposed to discuss, giving your arguments to understand. Please, I warned last time, I expect total silence. I've learned that when I give instructions in the lecture, you are very busy doing your own things. You don't get instructions clearly. Especially even the class reps don't get instructions clearly. They do their own things. I said, and I repeat, those who had missed the cut were to report to the class rep. The class rep was to generate a list, and they were to give me a list. You are not supposed to come to my inbox, bring the hard copy. Thank you for the social work class rep alileta. BJM nilipata kwa ofisi, BCR, BCO, BBM nilipata kwa ofisi. And that's what I say. So can we learn to listen to instructions? Let us not be divided in our thinking. For we are here for the purpose of this class. Now, we want to look at the second part so that we conclude this discussion. We'll conclude by looking at index numbers. When you are asked what's an index is only but a value that summarizes changes in a variable. Anything that will summarize change means you are moving from point A to point B. And therefore, you are able to look at what is the ratio between point A to B. And anything that can be expressed as a ratio of 2 numbers can therefore be expressed as a percentage.
Quantitative.
Yeah.
Nani anafunza anaitwa Duncan. Index numbers. And amekuwa aki-explain about taxation. Sasa amefika kwa index numbers.
Evans Masomi. Are you now the lecture I leave you to teach? Evans Masomi. If you want to be the lecturer, I leave and you take over. Evans Masomi, can you proceed to teach? Mkinichokoza mtasoma. Kama msikije yenye nasema, I don't repeat myself. Sharin Kosgei, Nahumicha, Maslin, ensure that you have muted all your microphones. Mimi sitaki kujirudia. Na sitajirudia. Na sio tafadhali. I'm a trained teacher. Put on your microphone and you're talking. I can promise you the worst. Jeremiah Masika, Sharin Kosgei, Simon Omura. If you don't mute and I hear your voice, ole wako. Itapembelezana na mtu sasa. So, as we look at the ratio, which we can express as a percentage, we are therefore looking at the change in terms of a given magnitude, which is therefore measured over time. We know we were born, we grew up, we sat, we stood, we began walking. We didn't know how to talk, we began talking. And these are the changes that we are talking about. You came to this university, all of you are TICPA, you attend classes, you do exams. At the end of it all, we shall want to see and measure the changes in terms of your academic performance. So if we look at this, then it means we need to select the starting point, our point A or point 0. Then we want to look at this change up to what point in time. The point in time within which we want to look at is what we are taking the measures against. This is referred to as the year of analysis. We look at your performance from year 1. That is our base year. Then we want to see at the end of 4th year, what will be your performance index? So that gives us the year of analysis. So these two things, the starting point and the ending point. The starting point is the base year, the ending point is the year of analysis. So those 2 points are what will give us the changes in the variable, which we find by computing a ratio of 2 numbers, and we can express this as a percentage. So we need to understand that over time, we must look at where are we starting and where are we ending. So this is what we refer to as the base year, where we are starting, the year of analysis, where we are ending or where we are carrying out the analysis. So basically, there are various common types of indices. We can look at the price, stock. We have looked at stock market, quantity, cost of living, performance index, like for your case, or in terms of business, production index, wage, business cycle, anything, any phenomenon. We can measure the changes in the magnitude of that phenomenon. Even your age, we can measure. So if we do that, then we are looking at those as the types of indices. To this end, therefore, we want to focus more on the price indices because our concern for this course is to help you understand the indices of the price, because this is what measures the cost of living. This is what explains about inflation. Many times we are saying that, oh, the prices are high, oh, it's expensive. So these are things that we want to look at. And therefore, we want to zero in and look at the price indices. So what do we do? Because we have said an index measures changes in a variable from one point to another. So with the prices, therefore, it means we are computing the changes in the price of commodities over a period of time, from where we are starting from to where we shall be analyzing, from the base year to the year of analysis. It is these price indices that we use to analyze and describe inflation. That means inflation is nothing other than the money value, the value of money over time. Is it appreciating? Is it depreciating? Just recently, a few months ago, we are looking at the Kenyan shilling versus the dollar. It was exchanging at a rate of 150 something. Today, it's in 140 something. What does this indicate? What does this mean to us? It's a price index. So the rise and fall in prices usually signifies the deterioration in the money value of the country. If the prices increase, what happens? Today is 14th day of March. We expect a review of the prices for fuel. Is it going to increase? Is it going to reduce? Or what is going to happen? If you look at the exchange rates that has been there of the dollar, the Kenyan shilling has gained. And therefore, we expect the prices to fall. This is what we need to understand. That rise in the price or the fall in that price is what we want to analyze. And this is the gist of price indices. Now, for construction of price indices, we must look at the following. What is the purpose? Because there are several indices of price that we are going to look at. What commodities are included? What is our starting point, the base period, the base year? Which price average are we going to use? We have any weighting? And if so, what are the proper weights that we use? Then finally, we also consider in what price quotations do they come? Because commodities are measured in different weights. You look at a kilo of sugar, a packet of tea leaves. You look at a liter of milk. I'm looking at the basic, a loaf of bread. So these price quotations, they come in those different weights, different measures. So are we taking a kilo to be equivalent to a liter, to be equivalent to a packet? These are the issues. These are the challenges. And this is what we need to look at. So before we delve into the specifics, let us just run through the types of price indices that we have. There are various types. And number one is the price relative index, which measures the changes in the price of a single commodity. We look at bread and want to see how has bread changed, because bread is a single commodity. We look at petrol. We look at a loaf of bread, I've said that, a kilo of sugar. And therefore, what does this therefore mean? We only get the ratio or the percentage of the changes in price. If we say that we are starting in the year 2020, that is our base year. That is our year of reference. So that becomes our price O reference. Now we are analyzing it in 2024. That becomes our price N. where N is now referring to the year of analysis. When are we doing the analysis? Therefore, the ratio Pn divided by Po gives us the price relative index. Pn over Po. Now, this index is not a very good measure because it only looks at a single commodity. But we know when you talk of cost of living, we are looking at a range of commodities. And therefore, it is limited in that regard. Then the second one is simple average price relative index. Simple average. It uses just a simple averaging method. It is the price relative index divided by the number of commodities. That's what we are saying. So if we consider a range of products, we are considering several. Say bread, sugar, milk, tea leaves, and what have you. So how many products are they? So we just get the entire sum of the respective price relative indices of each of those commodities divided by the number. It's a simple averaging method. So if it's simple averaging method, then it has limitations in its usefulness. It treats all items as being equally important to the consumer. But is this normally the case? Some of us, diabetic cases like myself, we don't use sugar. So whether sugar goes at 1,000 per kilo or not, it does not affect me. Some of us don't eat carbs, carbohydrates. But if the prices of certain commodities change, which do not affect, because we also have tastes and preferences. So we cannot treat all these commodities as being equally important to the consumer. So you average, and this is what we are talking about. The weighted average price relative index takes cognizance of each and every item. What weight are we attaching? Because of people who use sugar in my house, perhaps I can weight that by the amount I want to spend on sugar. I say in a month, I'll spend 500 on sugar. I'll spend 1,000 on milk. I'll spend 200 on something. To you as a student, what are your key things? You need food, the way we saw, in the budget, clothing, the basic needs, secondary needs, then the tertiary needs. That is what we are looking at. So this is a way of giving a weighted average. So we look at what weight are we attaching to each and improve on the simple average by attaching the weight. Then finally, we divide by the total weight. That is what weighted average price relative index is all about. But over and above that, we have an aggregative approach. Instead of having price relative index, we have simple aggregate price index, which treats all items as being equal. But at the back of our mind, you know that we as the consumers, we have differences in tastes and preferences. We also know that there are different units, the way we say it, for price quotations. There are those that come in kilos, those that come in grams, those that come in liters, those that come in packets, and what have you. So with weighted average, weighted aggregate, not weighted aggregate, weighted aggregate, we are looking at what aggregative price are we looking at. So we sum all the prices in the year of analysis divided by the sum of all the prices in the year of reference or the base year. That is the simple aggregate, simple aggregation. It is just a price relative index where we talked of is the price in the year of analysis divided by the price in the base year. So with simple aggregation, we add all the prices of commodities we are considering in the year of analysis divided by the sum of all the prices that we are considering in the base year. Then the best of all is now the weighted aggregate price index. Weighted aggregate brings in now the weightings. And these weightings can be considered as the quantities bought either in the base year or the year of reference. When those in the base year of references are used, or the base year, then what we get is what we call less bias price index. When we use the quantities of the year of analysis, then the weighted aggregate that we get is what we refer to as the per share price index. So per share and less bias are the same, only that the difference lies in price quantities. Are we using those of the reference year or the base year? Less bias. Are we using those in the year of analysis? Then that is per share. That's where the difference in the two lies. So as we look at this, then we can get an average value. The positive square root of the product of best bias and per share price indices, that one will give us the Fisher's and ideal index. These are indices that were given the names of those who founded them. And therefore, we acknowledge the founders. That in the same breath, when both the base year as well as the current year quantities are considered as weights, we can reconstruct this Fisher's ideal index and approximate it. When we do that by way of summation and averaging, then it gives us what we call the Marshall-Edgeworth index. The Marshall-Edgeworth index. Now, as we look at this, ladies and gentlemen, there's need for us now to look at specific examples. We want to see how do we compute each one of these from the price relative index, simple average price relative index, weighted average price index, simple aggregate price index, and finally, the weighted aggregate price index that gives us the less bias, the Fisher's, and the bias, which when we approximate the Fisher's, it gives us Marshall-Edgeworth index. This is what we are talking about. So let us look at examples of each so that we see how do we proceed to compute them. We want to see to it that we can now do the computations. So we look at one at a time. Once we get to number 5, then we shall be, or we will be safe. So let's look at examples.
Mumeanza kelele.
Kazi ya maana. Imagine hajafanya wewe.
Ekati hatuoni bwana, hatuoni.
Sasa mmoja nne yale.
Oi.
Some connectivity issues, ladies and gentlemen. Please bear with us, but we are fixing it. Yes, we can now see the board. Can now see the board.
Yes, sir.
So we have looked at about five different indices. We look at each one of them for examples. Next, we looked at was the price relative index. The price relative index, we said, these are simple averaging method, and we said that this is the prices, Pn divided by the price PO, and we can get this out of percentage, because this is giving us a ratio which we can also express as a percentage. Suppose we considered some products. Say, for example, I'm looking at the year, then I'm looking at the price of this single commodity, which I want to say, for example, is the price of sugar. So if in the year 2018, you can look at the year 2020, then the year 2022, and now the year 2024. I look at the prices as having been a kilo of sugar in 2018, maybe it was going at 60 shillings. In the year 2020, it was going at 80. In the year 2022, it was going at 120. And now in the year 2024, say it's going at the rate of 160. So we are being given, this is the price of a single commodity that we are referring to as sugar. So the price of sugar has changed over time as given. 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2024. That we want to analyze and see what is the price index of this product, this commodity sugar. That with this, we need now to identify what our price relative index is by getting the price in the year of analysis and then the price in the base year. Remember we said, when we talk of N, the price N, this N is the year of analysis. And this O is the year of reference, or otherwise the base year. So we can choose from this that suppose I want to start with the year 2018. I'm doing the analysis in 2024. So 2018 will be my P of 2024 is where I'm analyzing from point A to point B, the changes of price over time. You are moving from one point to another, from 2018 to 2024. So my price in the year of analysis is 160. So this will give us 160 divided by. Our year of reference is 2018. So with the 2018, this is 60 times 100. So this will give you this and this. So it's 6 divided by 160. So this is 2, 12, 40, 36, 36, 4, 40, 6, 36, 4.0, 6, 36. So it recurs. So this will give you 266.666 recurring, which we can give us 67%. So over this period, 2018 to 2024, the price of sugar has changed by 266.66%, which therefore means the price has increased by, so we subtract 100% here, so it gives us 166.67%. So generally, the price of this commodity, sugar, has increased by 166.67%. And this is for the price relative index. The price relative index. Now that was the price, say for the commodity sugar. That's the price for the commodity sugar. We can add on the prices of other commodities. Say bread. We have the price for bread. In 2018, maybe it was 30 shillings a loaf. 2020, you are buying at 35. 2022, we are buying at 50. And 2024, We are now buying it at 60. Suppose these are the prices of the commodities. We have that of sugar, and now we have that of bread, 30, 35, 50, and then 60. Now, if we look at this, that we did look at the price relative index for sugar, we can also look at the price relative index for bread. Suppose I want now to look at the price relative index for bread, and I want to see between the year 2020 and 2024. So my price relative index, which is given as Pn over Po times 100, this will give me, Pn is the year of analysis, which is 2024, and that is 60, divided by Po is my year of reference. My year of reference is 2020, which is 35 times 100. And that will give me a price relative index for the commodity bread. That is what we say. So I can as well look at 2022 to 2024. I can look at 2018 to 2022. Whichever the case, if I start from 2018 to 2022, this is my best year, this is my year of interest, my year of analysis. So we can look at it as long as we identify point A, point B. Where are we starting from? That's the reference, that's the best. Where are we analyzing? When are we analyzing? That is the year of analysis, and that is what we consider. So with this in mind, therefore, we can see and interpret it the same way as we had done. That is for price relative index. The second type of interest we looked at was the simple average price relative index. Simple average price relative index. What did we say about it? This is a simple averaging method. So we are getting the sum of the respective price relatives. Sum of the respective price relatives. Price for products Pn, Po divided by N. Where now our N here is the number of commodities. The number of commodities. So if I'm looking at that as the number of commodities, then I should get what is the price relative for each. The price relative for each of the items divided by the number of commodities. Here I have two, sugar and bread. Suppose I'm looking at it from the year 2018 to the year 2022. I want to see the changes in the price, 2018 to 2022. So for this, I would now get what is my price relative index for the first commodity, sugar. Sugar is changing from 60 to 120. So that will give me 120 all over 60 plus. The second product is bread. Bread is changing from 30 to 50. So my price relative index will be 50 all over 30. This is divided by the number of products. There are two commodities. And of course, we express this as a percentage. Then we can use both mass to get this. So it's this is we double this, so that will be 100. So this will give you 220 all over 60 divided by 2 times 100. So this and this will go. This and this is 3, 18, carry 4, into 42 is 6, carry 36, 36 plus 6 is 42, that is 7. Is 7. Divided by 7, 0 then. 0 divided by 2, and that will give you 135% or something like that. Which consequently therefore means that prices increased by 35% over time. Please do the correct workings. You have calculators there, do the correct workings. 120 over 60 plus 50 over 30 divided by 2 times 100. See if it gives you that. Do it for the correct values. 183.33%. The interpretation we give therefore is the prices generally increased by 83.33%. So there was a general increase in the prices by 83.33%. We can as well add a third price, a third commodity. Suppose I added here milk. I'm adding there a third product, milk. Suppose it was 20 shillings, it went to 25, it came to 30, and now went to 40. So if I have 3, can I still get my simple average price relative index now for the 3 commodities? What will that be? Now I look at the first commodity. Now I change even the years. I don't want to use 2022, 2024. I want to see it from 2020 to 2024. 2020 to 2024. So I look at the first item, sugar. It's changing from 80 to 160. So for sugar, it will be 80 to 160, so that 160 all over 80 plus. The second commodity is bread. It's changing from 35 to 60. So that is 60 divided by 35 plus. I look at milk, 25 to 40. So that will be 40 all over 25 divided by. How many commodities are there? There are 1, 2, 3. So I divide this by 3. My n becomes 3. Then this times 100. That's how you get the price relative, aggregate price relative index. That is what we are saying. So you work out this, what do you get? Work out this, what do you get?
177.14. 177.14.
I'm told you are getting 177.14%. What does this mean? Prices increased by 77.14%. So the general price increase in the commodities was 77.14%. So when you are talking about inflation, the changes in the price, an increase in price, then we are looking at, if it's a single commodity, we are looking at that commodity. But if it's a set of commodities, then we are getting the general price changes in price. Like now for these 3, prices generally increased by, so you find that all commodities, the prices have gone up. And that means there has been an increase in the prices and therefore inflation, which reflects now on the value of money that we have. If you are having 100 shillings to spend, then you will not be able to use that 100 to get the same commodities as you are getting them in the year 2020, but you need now to increase by 77 shillings for every 100 for you to meet the same items in the year 2024. That is what it is all about. Let us proceed systematically to the third type of index. The third type of index, which we said is the weighted average price relative index. The weighted average price relative index. This one we said that is the average of all the respective price relatives. So it's sum of Pn all over Po, we multiply by Wi, and this now we divided by the sum of the weight times 100, where this is the weight we are attaching. The weight we are attaching to the commodities. The weight we are attaching to the commodities. The weight we are attaching to commodities. Instead of just simple averaging, now we are weighting that average. How do we weight? We can weight it in a different way, in different ways. Suppose we use our budget and say that I want now to include here the amount. I want to include there the amount that for sugar, I want to spend up to say 800. For bread, I want in a month, I want to spend that up to say 400. Then for milk, I want to spend that up to say 800. So this is my weight that I'm adding. That's my weight. The weighting here, I'm using the budgetary allocation. So if I consider the weight, because not all these are equally important to the consumer. We have taste and preferences. There are those who take into fear. They don't use sugar. There are those who don't use milk. So we can attach the weight so that we take care of those differences in taste and preferences of the consumer. So if we do that, then what we get is the weighted average price relative index. So with the weighted average price relative index, if we use the same scenario, then we are going to consider each one of them. So I look at the price, and I want now to look at 2018, say to 2024. You can use any periods. You can use any periods that you may want, but I'm choosing them at random. Suppose my base is 2018, my analysis in 2024. So how does this come out? So for sugar, the price in 2018 and 2024 is given. So for the price in the year of analysis is 160 divided by the base year is 60, but this multiplied by the weight. The weight I'm attaching is 800. So times 800 plus. I look at the second commodity, bread. It is 2018, 2024. Then it's 60 divided by 30. 60 divided by 30 times what weight am I attaching? 400. Plus, the third item is milk. 2018, 2024. So it is 40 all over 20 times the weight I'm attaching, 800. Divided by 800 plus 30, 800 plus, sorry, 400 plus 800. And all these are multiplied by 100 to get the percentage. So we are doing the weighted average for each commodity. Sugar, bread, milk. Then we divide by the total weight, which we are giving in terms of the items that we have there, given in terms of amount. So work out this.
$6.67. 226.67.
Work out that.
$6.67.
6.67.
Morning, I'm in
6.67.
I'm in class.
$6.67.
6.67.
to 16.67.
Hey,
226.67.
hey. Oh, watu bana.
Please hurry up to get the answer.
16.67 ati hao watu kwenda huko.
$226.67.
231.37. 226.7%.
226.67.
226.67%.
Sure, Majid.
Mm-hmm. 226.67%.
226.67%.
Why are you getting different answers? 160 divided by.
Mine is correct. 216.67.
200%.
226.37.
231.375.
This is a jabber. $600 plus 600. $600. $600 400. Another error accrual. Oh no.
Watu wanaongea chini ya maji.
So you should be able to get 226.67%, which means the weighted average price relative index.
Yes,
Gets that there was a general increase in the prices of commodities by 126.67%. That was the general increase in the price of those commodities. That is what we are saying. Work out correctly, you will get 126.67%.
Na ni 200. Unachukua hiyo nini minus 100%. Alafu unapata hiyo.
Watu wanapiga kelele hapo sana. Then the next index that we looked at was the simple aggregate price index. Simple aggregate price index. And this is the simple averaging method. Sum of Pn all over sum of Po times 100. Simple aggregate. Aggregate means we sum. So if we have three commodities, sugar, bread, milk, and we have the years 2018, 2020, 2022, 2024, so we can get the sum. that for 2018, what was the total sum? This is 90 plus 20, 110. For 2020, this is 10, 13. For 2022, this is 80, 200. For 2024, this is 260. So we are looking at the sum that if we want to look at now, the change in the price from 2018 to 2020. So 2018 will become our base year. 2020 will become our year of analysis. And
Share the
therefore,
screen.
our simple aggregate price index will therefore be, if we consider 2018 and 2020, we'll have 130 over 110
Please, a correction.
times 100.
It's not 130, it's 140.
That will give us the index.
That
That we can
140.
also consider, say, 2018 to 2022. 2018 becomes our base reference year. 2022 becomes our analysis. In 2022, the analysis is 200. 2018 is 110. So we shall have for 200 divided by 110 times 100 if we are considering 2018 to 2022. Suppose we also want to consider 2018 to 2024. Then we shall have 260 over 110. That will give us 260 all over 110 times 100. And this will give you several indices which we can interpret. So the basic thing is that we must know where are we starting and where are we ending, which is our base and which is our analysis. So for the first case, we are doing 2018 to 2020. Then second case, we are doing 2018 to 2022. Third case, we are doing 2018 to 2024. We can as well take 2020 to 2024. So if we take 2020 to 2024, it means we have 260 over 130 times 100. And that gives us the index. So you can get as many of those indices as possible, and you can now interpret them the way we have been interpreting them all along. So what do you get for this? What do you get?
181.82.
One. This 120 plus 50, 170. Plus
Yeah.
80. This is it. 10, 13. Plus 1. Thank you. That will be 120.
No.
So it's 110, 120.
140.
140.
140.
Thank you for the correction.
140, sir.
Thank you for the correction.
140.
So what do you get?
$140, sir.
127.27.
Which one?
So it's 140, not 120.
The answer is 127.
This is 60. This is 140.
Still calculate.
Yes, hapo inasumbua nini?
Haisumbui.
Good.
Napata one.
You should be confirming the additions. Confirm those additions.
They are okay.
We have those who are following keenly and those who are not following.
Mimi nimejua hizi vitu zote.
Hapa. 127.27%. So the price has increased by 27.27%. That's the interpretation. The general increase in the prices. So you can do the others at your own free time. Then finally, we look at the weighting Look at the weighting. We look at the weighting. And we said now, the weighted aggregate price index takes the form of the quantities. And we said that for this case, this is sum of Pn or sum of Po multiplied by the weighted I times 100, where the weight, this is quantities in year of analysis or quantities in base year. So we have those two weights, those in the year of analysis and those in the base year. Suppose we use Q for quantities and say that this is QO, because QN, sorry, for analysis, and then this is QO for the base year. Then it means if we substitute in our formula, we shall have sum of Pn or all over sum of PO QO times 100, or sum of Pn Qn all over sum of PO Qn times 100. The difference here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are looking at the quantities that we are using. You see, the quantities in the first case are those of the base year. The quantities in the second case are those of the year of analysis. And that's why we said that if we use the quantities in the base year as it is, then this is called less bias price index. If we use the quantities in the year of analysis, then this is called per share price index. That's where the difference comes in. The difference lies in the quantities. Are we using those in the year of analysis for per share? Those in the base year for less per year. So this gives us two indices, both of which are weighted aggregate price index. So let us see how we can do this in the following example. Suppose you have the following products. You have the commodity. Then you have the price and then quantity. This for the year, say, 2020. Then for the year 2023, you have the price, then the quantity. So you have one is maize, two is wheat, three is beans. So if in 2020, this was going at, perhaps Agorogoro was going at 50 bob. In 2020, wheat was going at 950. Then beans was going, say, at say 1,500 for whatever quantity, the price. So in terms of quantity, this was for 20, this was for 8, and this was for 5. For 2024, this was going at 1350. This was going at 1600. This was going at 3200. And this for 30. Then 7, then 8. We have that. And we are being told that using now 2020 as the best year. So 2020 is becoming our best year. So the price here will be PO, quantity here will be QO, and therefore this will be PN, then this will be QN. So with this in mind, therefore, we should be able now to tabulate and get what we require, because we are supposed to find the weighted average for less bias per share and then the Fisher's ideal index. Let us complete the table, because what we need are those summaries. PNQO, PNQN, POQO, and finally POQN. Complete those columns. Complete those columns and get the totals that we require there. Complete the columns and get the totals. Do it quickly.
Please, sir, there are some people who have been making.
Tuna ada ama tunafanya nini?
Tuna subtract.
Adding. It's multiplication.
Ini multiplication.
Multiplication wadau.
Okay.
Kutanishwa, so ni multiplication.
Zimekuanga mbili. Sinileka zote mbili zikaukia.
Please get those products. Some of you are getting confused. PNQO means we are looking at PN, price in the year of analysis. QO, price in the quantities. The price in the, it's PNQO. PNQO, price in the year of analysis and the quantities in the base year. This times this gives you here. This times this gives you here. Like that. So PNQN means PN. No, this is supposed to be PN, QN, POQ. Yes. So it is PNQN, PNQN. This and this, this and this, this and this. You complete here. POQO, this and this the product, this and this the product. POQN, POQN, this and this. 50 by 30, 950 by 7, 1500 by 8. You complete, then you get those totals. Those are the ones that we are going to substitute in our respective formulas. Do not get confused. Gundua kwamba wasichana ndio wanasumbua sana kwa idara. Gundua kwamba wasichana ndio wanasumbua sana kwa idara. Internet okay. Morning, how are you?
Share the question.
You want the question? The question is, you find the less biased price index, partial price index, and the Fisher's ideal index.
We are done.
Are you through?
Good.
Are you through?
Yes, of course.
We are done.
Done for that card. Huh?
Tumemaliza.
Umaliza?
Tumemaliza.
Okay. Look at what. Let's bring it down to the screen.
Umeongea ubaya. Kwa kutoka lunch. Yani kama unapika na kuni. Bure hiyo tu hivi. Hii anania jiko.
Nani wanaongea kupika?
Nashangaa pia.
Watu mmeoana mko hapa darasa na mnaongea mambo ya kupika, kuna jiko. You are silly. Now look at that. Can all of you see that?
Yep.
Now, can we also compute?
Zoom.
Zoom kidogo.
Simu zoom nyi wenyewe.
Mnaongea mambo ya jiko, watu wengine mnataka kunywa chai na wengine hatujakunywa chai.
Hiyo si ndio tunakunywa.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Very, very okay. Now,
can we work out the... Let me give you the one for the Fisher's ideal index also. Work it out.
Please, sir, zoom it again.
zoom for yourself.
What are we working? How?
Let him represent ladies. Ladies wamelala. Acha represent.
Mimi niko hapa active wewe. Mimi niko active.
Acha represent ladies. Ladies wamelala. Kile atakuwa na kirele. Ako tu sawa.
Mwambie.
Au kanuni
Hebu mute mic zenu.
Tuko active wengi tu. Na
How
tumia
can
tuone.
how can that are in class?
What are you working out?
Weka huko.
Weka tuone.
For less bias price index, we are
Yes.
using quantities in the base year. For partial price index, we are using quantities in the year of analysis. For Fisher's ideal index, we are getting the square root of the product of partial and less bias. For Marshall Edgeworth index, this is how we get it. This is what we had looked at earlier. So for less bias, partial, Fisher's, and Marshall Edgeworth indices, this is how they are computed. With what I had projected, can we work out, generate the table of that form, then see what we get for less bias, partial, price, Fisher's, and then the Marshall Edgeworth, as we conclude our discussion on index numbers. Let us do that.
Price.
Really.
Kwa kazi hawezi ongea sasa. Mpafu. Ni wachawi ama nini?
Huyu ni nani? Tumaje kwa Lenga.
Are we there? Are we there? The mute word. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Seeing my screen?
Hello.
Melvin, nimewachanganya na wewe ndio umekuwa na unaongea mambo ya kuacha jiko. Kwa kitanda unapata morning glory na huko unaongea umechanganya. Let's see if we can proceed. Now, if we compare let's buy and partial price indices, then you will notice from those two examples that if prices of all commodities change in the same proportion, then the two will actually be equal. So one circumstance under which let's buy and partial price indices will be the same is that if all the commodities change in the same proportion. And therefore, the weighting will be relevant, and that takes us back to the simple aggregate price index. Therefore, if all quantities also change in the same ratio, then the two indices will be the same because the weighting system will be the same. So the determining factor here is the changes in the price and the changes in the quantities that should be in the same proportion and the same ratio. If that's the case, then the two indices will be the same. But in practice, price and the quantity demanded cannot change in the same ratio. Why? Because we know that when a given commodity increases in the price, the demand goes down. The quantity demanded reduces. And when the prices of a commodity comes down, the quantity demanded increase, the law of demand and supply. It is therefore imperative that because people tend to buy less of what has become expensive and they buy more of what has become cheap, then we cannot have the two change in the same ratio. And therefore, under no circumstance will less price and partial price indices be the same. Also, there are changes in terms of consumer tastes and preferences. When an item or a commodity becomes unnecessarily expensive, people tend to go for the next best alternative, the opportunity cost. And therefore, the changes in tastes and preferences induce different market adjustments for different goods. If bread becomes unnecessarily expensive as it is now, People go in for the next best alternative, which is Kangumu. So what happens to price? And this is what we are saying, it is inducing different market adjustments for different goods. Instead of going in for ugali nyama, people want to strike a balance and go for ugali mix because they don't want to eat mboga. This is what we are saying. If you can't afford to buy fish, then you go and eat omena. That's what we are saying. So this is what we have. But the bottom line is that partial price indices gives you the relative change in the cost of purchasing power. Why? Because it's using the reference period. Less price, on the other hand, tends to be at times expensive to compute because you would want to call this bot in each and every year of analysis. Because the way we did there, and if you calculate, then you will see this come to pass. So we need always to be cautious. We need to know what is it that we are doing. So partial indices, less partial indices, Fisher's ideal index, Marshall Rutherford index, all these, they can be interpreted and they can help us understand what we are talking about in terms of cost of living. To that end, ask me a question about index numbers. Questions on the chat box, or you can unmute and ask.
Mwalimu, notes. Mwalimu, notes bwana, tumia notes.
Show us the answers. They were.
There's a lot of echo from your side.
Notes.
No.
Show us the way you got the first question's answer.
The way? Shall we cover matrix in this unit? Yes, that's going to be our last topic. Please, sir, we need a module ya hii course. Module inahitaji namna gani? Iko kwa LMS. And there are more examples there. You are being told by Frieza. Provide us with the solved equations. They are there. And I'm teaching. Why do you need them? Past papers are there. You can see me for more.
Notes.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of using index numbers? Nilifunza ulikuwa unaongea mambo ya watoto. Enda soma. Mimi maneno ya kufunza unaangalia past papers. Unakumbuka. Kwani mimi nifunza questions za past paper?
Mbona anajibu hivyo wachura? Nakanga hivyo.
Na wasichana mtakunywa supu kwa hii kosi mtasikia. Chekeni tu.
Hii lecture yawa.
Hii mnajoin na watoto, mnajoin na masufuria huku mnatandika marazi huku mnafanya
Eleki yawa.
Mtasikia hiyo ni ukweli wa mambo. August conference, you the majority.
Waambie usikie.
Waambie ukweli.
Akili kuna danganya ya.
Fact marking is our title. So do you have anything to ask? Now, for the sake of doubting Thomases, those who don't know where we are in the course because they are wanakuja hapa kutuonyesha how they have girlfriends and boyfriends and man friends. Hawajui sisi those of you are presenting yourself posteriorly. Sisi hapa tuko tunasoma na kulikuwa na course outline. Let me check for it and see what it is.
My question.
Huyo na bunga. Kwanza nachukia wasichana. Wewe acha tu.
Unatupigia kelele.
Maluo man.
Mera wajna. Unaid
But I gave you the course outline.
Hello, sir.
Yes, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
No. No.
no.
Mister.
Are you seeing it?
Yes, we are seeing.
Now, kuna mtu ameuliza. I want to go through the course outline. Number one was basic statistics. We covered. Matrix algebra we have not covered. Public finance we have covered. Taxation we have covered. Index numbers we have covered. So what question were you asking?
Notes 2.
Huh?
Notes. 20.
I repeat myself, the notes are in the LMS.
Just
If
notes.
you don't know how to access, that's your own problem. So many examples. Wenzenu wame access, nyinyi hapa notes. Unasoma vitabu kwa library. Ikegeni tu. Naumana, kitawaramba. Those are the core reading materials. Iko library. Niliwapea kwa course outline. Those are the recommended reference materials I gave you. You go to the LMS, every topic has books and reference materials. Ziko hapo. So notes nataka nini? My notes are there in the LMS.
LMS ni nini?
Wewe ni first year ama wewe ni standard year?
Hiyo ni usumbufu.
This is semester 2 of first year and you're asking what
Excuse me, sir.
Now, for the sake of others.
Sir, excuse me.
This is the learning management system.
Mm.
You go to your learning portal.
E-learning portal.
Go to that portal under the course KUC1250. Click there, you will access if you enrolled for the course. Wengine jana walikuwa wananiambia waje enroll for the course. Na tumesema kila mara enroll. Are we there together?
Yes, sir.
Kindly enroll for the course. Go to Odell. You will be enrolled. Wamefungua portal to all students. Number 2, kwa wale wanaosikia. The university funding has opened for appeals. Can you appeal for what you are given? The government has money. Can you appeal for the loans you are given? For the scholarships you are given? If you are not given, appeal. It's open now.
And if you are given and
consider students are fresh. Kama ulipewa na unaona itoshi, appeal. Kama hukupewa, appeal. Tunasema namna hii, wengine mko tu kwa malazi alafu mwisho mnaanza kuleta tabu.
Apilia wapi?
Can you appeal to the university? Help.
Sir, how do you appeal, sir?
Unasikia?
How do you appeal?
How do you appeal? Go and ask students huko mtu anaitwa Lusweti huko. Mimi siwezi wafanyia kila kitu. Unaweka hiyo notice,
Wewe mzuri.
Can you concentrate? Find out, appeal to the funding model, help wa kuongezea pesa. Bana kuja anza kusema hapa ndio sikupewa ama nilipewa kidogo. They have opened, they are listening to appeals. They are considering appeals. Kindly tell your friend to tell a friend. Appeal.
Thanks for the information, Daktari.
Please appeal. Hata nyinyi mkiambiwa kati iko ni 27 29 siku itafika mtu ataniambia internet, sijui. If we said enroll by this date, you can postpone. But some of you did not enroll. Sasa mtakuwa mnasikia kweli. Na mtu anakuambia huwa anakuwa class. I make all around. The cut is coming the last week of this month. Cut 2 coming. Na niliomba mnipee makeup hamjanipea.
Makeup ya.
Makeup ya hii course. Nataka nimalize hii course mwezi kama haijaisha.
Kabisa.
Niwape Saturday.
Hapana. Saturday tuko nje.
Funza Saturday.
Friday.
Sasa
hapana.
Tupambana tunayo, wacha tupambane nayo mpaka huko mwisho. We shall communicate if we shall have a class on the 21st, 22nd hapo. We shall communicate. There is some other engagements that I might be involved in. So the class reps, we shall look at it. But if I'll not be available, the wake up or nini watu wasome.
Sawa,
Matrix algebra.
Bye.
We'll put their video blast the last group.
Bye.
Sawa.
Good day.
Tutaiweka kwa portal.
Yes.
Unasikia, tutaiweka kwa portal so that watu waingie kwa portal.
Sawa dog. Good day.
Sawa.
Good day.
Haya.
Bye.
There being no another business, allow me that we adjourn and start on the last topic. Next. When we meet.
Bye.
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 Bro bwana, bye.
Good day, Daktari.
Biro bwana, uko na kopo.
Mamako ni koko.
Obiero bwana. Tango. Ibaru ya.